Listen, I came from the dirt, man. I came from nothing, man. I grew up on the mean streets of Ames, Iowa. And we would go to church every single Sunday. Me and my mom and my mom and my third mom and my dad, because we were in a cult. And we would go to cult church every Sunday, and they would pass around that collection plate. Oh, and the pastor, he'd say, you better give up your bountiful harvest to the Lord so that he may return it unto you. And I watched my mom and my other mom and my dad put every last dollar that they earned from working at the pork factory into that little old collection plate. and we never, listen, we never saw a dime back. I tell you what, we never saw a dime back from the good Lord. We never saw it. And we would be coming home from church in one of those little mine carts. One of those little things you see riding on the railroad tracks, where one guy's got to pump one end of it and another guy's got to pump the other end of it. We would ride one of those back to the Hooverville, and I would ask my mom. I would say, "Mom, I would ask one of my moms and my other mom and my other mom, can we stop and get the Moonlight Greatsword on the way home?" Because we were hungry and we didn't have nothing to eat. And you know what my 3 or 4, or maybe it was 5 mamas would say to me? They would say, "We have the Moonlight Greatsword at home." So we get back to that little Hooverville. We get back to that little one-room shack where we all slept in a big little sack of potatoes together. Open up the fridge. What do we see in there? Just a claymore and chillin' mist. And that's all I had growing up on those mean streets of Ames, Iowa. And we had to make our own fun, growing up back then. We had to make our own fun. If we wanted to see, for instance, a wild animal, we would have to go down to the mall. We'd have to go to the mall in Des Moines. And inside the mall in Des Moines, there's a zoo. I'm gonna stop. I'm not doing the voice anymore, but this is a true story. Des Moines, Iowa. There's a mall in Des Moines, Iowa that has a zoo inside of it. You literally just walk into a place that looks like a store, like it looks like it used to be a Hot Topic. And me and my friends went there one time. It was like 11 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. We were unemployed, recently graduated from college. Nothing else to do. It was summertime. It's hot out. It's gross out. I don't want to be there. They don't want to be there. Let's go inside where there's air conditioning. We go to this mall, and there's signs that say there's a zoo inside the mall. And so we go and we follow the signs, and we go inside this place that looks like it's still under construction. And inside there is a baby grizzly bear, and there are snakes and various reptiles, and there are also several monkeys inside of, again, a place that looks very much like it used to be, maybe a Spencer's Gifts, or maybe a Claire's, where you can get your ears pierced. And me and my friends hung out with some reptiles, with some snakes. We got to see some monkeys and a baby grizzly bear. And to this day, I don't know if that was legal. I don't know if it was sanctioned by the government of the great state of Iowa, but it was there, and that's a true story. And here's another true story for you. My dad grew up in Kent, which is part of Seattle, kind of like a working class part of Seattle, And one time, his dad, my grandpa, who was an engineer, took him to the hardware store because they were getting something. They were getting hardware, I presume, at the hardware store. And the hardware store owner looks at my grandpa and he's like, "Hey, do you want to see something cool?" And my grandpa, he's a vet, he's an engineer, he works on planes. He was like, "Hell yeah, I love seeing cool things." And my dad was like 10, and he also said, "Yeah, show me something cool." So the owner of the hardware store takes them back behind this little curtain at the back of the store, and in this little closet in the back, chained to the wall of the hardware store in Kent, in Washington State, USA, is a chimpanzee. And that was the first time my dad ever saw a chimpanzee. And it was just there, and it was just in the hardware store. So anyways, these are Elden Ring invasions. Elden Ring is a video game that came out in 2022 by From Software. It was distributed by Bandai Namco. There's DLC coming out soon. It's called Shadow of the Erd Tree. It's going to be fantastic. And we're all kind of in the Shadow of the Erd Tree waiting room experience right now. It comes out in June, and what I've been doing is I've been making some new builds. And that's what we have here. What a preamble, right? Constitution's got nothing on me. What a preamble. This is, it's just a strength build. But I realized when I was kind of going through some of my builds that I had never made just a straight up strength build. Like, no funny business. We're not talking a quality build. We're not doing like strength and faith. It's just big boy time. It's just big boy hours over here. And I got the idea for kind of the budget, the Moonlight on a budget build from an invasion I did a while ago, where I was fighting a guy who was using a claymore, and I had never noticed that the claymore has a unique R2, where it's a thrust attack. So it's kind of unique for a greatsword. You can charge it, so that means that it will get a damage buff from the axe talisman, and since it's doing pierce damage, since it's like a thrust attack, if you interrupt another person's attack, or if you poise through someone else's attack, it will gain a damage buff from the spear talisman as well. So I just thought it would be kind of fun and goofy to put Chilling Mist on the claymore, and then just try and hit those charged R2s, and see just how much damage I could really kind of pull off with this thing. We're currently level 80, and look at that, yeah, like 642 or something on I don't even know if that was a fully charged R2. It's pretty good. But we're level 80, 50 vigor. I think we've got 45 strength or something like that. About like 25 endurance, just so that we can wear this armor that we got going on. I don't really have a name for this character right now, but he's wearing the Briar armor because I thought it looked cool. And the helmet that you get from like the marionette soldiers, the one that I'm wearing right now, it kind of looks like EG's mirror helm a little bit, but like a kind of like a down and dirty version of it. So I liked that too. I thought that it was I thought that it was just kind of a cool look for this guy, sort of a unique look. The running R2s on the claymore are also super fun. I mean, it's a running R2 that a lot of greatswords have, but the slight delay on it, because it's like a spinning attack, is something that does end up throwing a lot of people off. If you hit it just as somebody rolls and you've got like the right latency and a good connection to them, you can roll catch them pretty consistently with it, which is always fun. And so normally I spend like 3 or 4 hours maybe getting a build invasion ready, just to the point where it's like level 60. I have everything that I technically need for invasions. The build basically has the weapons and spells that I want. After that, it's just a matter of sort of allocating more stat points where I want them to go. So usually that's not a very long process. But with this guy, I've spent like 13 hours or something with this character just playing through the game, because strength builds are a lot of fun. Like, there's no like right way to play Elden Ring. Like, you can play it however you want. You can make whatever build you want, and it'll probably be pretty viable. But using like charged heavy attacks, breaking enemy stances, getting critical hits, using big weapons, like, you are really rewarded for that playstyle in PvE, and you're incentivized to just like start swinging, use charge attacks, try and be super, super aggressive with bosses. So I've just been enjoying it. I think this might be the build that I take into the DLC. We'll see what happens. I want to be kind of around like level 120, 125 to start out. But it's either this one, or I also have a faith and dexterity build that I want to bring up to sort of that meta level there, that I think would also be pretty fun. But the reason that it might be fun to do a faith build is that I have a theory about the DLC, and that theory is that holy damage is going to be very powerful in the DLC. Because if you think about it, the whole theme of the DLC is like this hidden, sort of blasphemous area and characters, people who were like shunned by the Golden Order and the Erd Tree. And like the end game of the base game right now, holy damage is just garbage. Every single boss and enemy has crazy high holy damage resistance. So that might mean that in the DLC, holy damage shreds certain scenarios, certain bosses. That's what I'm thinking right now, at least. It's a theory that I have. So, I mean, if we're being real, I'm going to play through the DLC like a million times with a million different characters because I want to see every weapon that's in there, every spell, every incantation, every new thing that they're throwing at us. I want to be able to test it out on different builds. So I'm going to be doing that, doing tons and tons of PvP as well. What we're watching right here is a very special invasion because this is the least satisfying invasion that you will see this week. I guarantee it. I've got these guys on the ropes. I've got them right where I want them. I'm playing the game. I did my homework. They're being passive. They're backing off a little bit. I've done my duty. I've intimidated them a little bit, I think. Look at that charged R2, 722 damage. We've got the co-opper down. All we have to do is chase down the host, right? Super easy, super simple. All right, that's it. See you later. Thanks.